What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how I pulled off the best rates and terms on the brand new home that I'm building and on the 15 Plex, both of which that we're just about to close on. And so in this video, I'm gonna show you the tips and tricks that I used to get absolutely incredible terms on the loans on these properties. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Chandler Smith, and I've been investing in real estate for the last 7 years. I currently own 99 units of rental real estate, and one of the big pushes that I make on this channel is find a way to invest in real estate and use that passive income to live your dream lifestyle. And so just to catch you up, right now I own 99 units of rental real estate, but I have a 15 Plex under contract, and I'm in the process of building my dream home. All that I ask you to do is smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell. And if you're someone that's getting into investing in real estate, I created a course that helps you go from nothing to over 100 units of buy and hold real estate. And right now you can get $50 off if you purchase the course below. So with all of that being said, let's just jump right into things. In order for you to understand how I pulled off these incredible rates and terms, you kind of need to understand the background. First of all, I do everything through a local credit union. And I don't like sharing that credit union just because that's personal and private. However, anytime you come and say, Chandler, where should we get lending? I'm always going to push you towards a local credit union. The reason for this is you can build a relationship with them, and anytime you can build a relationship, they're gonna be a lot more generous when they work out rates, terms, and other things. So I have spent the last 8 years building a relationship with this credit union where I do the majority of my work through them. That means that I keep my deposits there. That means that I have my deposits from my work come into there. That means I have all of my rents come in there. I always leave the majority of my money there so that they know I'm serious. This also has given me the opportunity to get, you could say, a higher status with the credit union because they have certain tiers on what you need to do to be able to then get a personal banker. Now, by having a personal banker and doing everything through this credit union, that has earned me super brownie points. So first of all, that's a big thing I've done to get this relationship. Now, I know that's taken me 8 years. However, this is something you can build pretty quickly if you do everything through a credit union and you make sure that you build a relationship with the people there and that you get as high up as you possibly can, because the more relationships you get with a smaller credit union, the more special treatment that you're going to get. On top of that, I've come to find that even if you're not getting special treatment, you can usually negotiate and get better rates and terms out of the gate with a local credit union in comparison to a bigger bank, because they're willing to work with someone local more. They want your business, they're willing to work for it, and they're not a big bank that's just gonna walk all over you. And so I would always tell you, go through a credit union. The other thing I've done is I have borrowed a ton of money from this credit union. I've done literally all of my loans through them, and so they already are carrying a ton of my debt, and they've been able to see that I've made consistent payments. Now, you can check on people's payments and their credit and everything else, but they understand me. They understand my door-to-door sales job. They understand my real estate business. They've been able to see how I've been able to add value to properties, and that gives me a lot more pull when I'm negotiating with them. And so anytime I come in with a competitor that has better rates or terms, they're usually pretty willing to bend over for me because they're like, hey, Chandler's been extremely loyal to us. We've seen that he's done good business. He's never gotten behind on his payments. He's done all of the right things. So let's work with him and make sure that we don't lose his business. Now that you've got that background, there's a little more that you need to understand. And again, I'm explaining this so that you know what to look for. Early on, you want to find the credit union that's going to work with you and that's going to give you the best rates and terms out of the gate. But you also want to recognize that that's only going to get better the more of a relationship you build and the more competition that you get involved. So early on, get as many people competing as possible. But I've already done that. I've built a relationship. I have my deposits here. I've done all kinds of stuff to build a relationship with this bank. And now it gets time for me to build a home. Now, I'm using a jumbo loan. If you don't know what a jumbo loan is, it's getting a loan on your personal residence in the amount of more than $484,000. So if you're over that amount, it crests into a jumbo loan rather than just a standard loan, or I guess a conventional loan that you would do through your bank. Now, a lot of people, if they're above that amount, they'll just make up for it in cash. So for example, if they wanted to put 5% down and they're over the jumbo amount, they'll put 10% or they'll put 15 or they'll put 20, or some people will put 30 or 40% down, because when you get into a jumbo loan, the rates and terms get substantially worse. As a matter of fact, I've seen jumbo loans be as much as 1 to 1.5% above what a normal loan would be. On top of that, they're usually going to require 30 to 40% down anyways, and they have much stricter criteria when it comes to your credit, your deposits, and a bunch of other stuff. So anytime you crest into a jumbo loan, it sucks because the rates and terms are substantially worse. Now, on top of a jumbo loan, if you get to the point where the amount you're borrowing is over $1 million, then your rates and terms get substantially worse as well, and they're gonna be way more strict about you putting down a larger down payment on a property like that, because in their eyes, there's a lot higher risk. Now, the other thing you need to understand is, depending on your area, the jumbo loan mark could be more. This is the jumbo loan mark for most states, but I would imagine in California, the jumbo loan mark is a little higher just because everything is substantially more expensive. But anytime you crest into a jumbo loan, it sucks because it's really hard to get good rates and good terms. Now, on top of it being a jumbo loan, the other thing that we're working against is it's a construction loan. Now, there's a difference between buying a house that's a new build and you're buying it as a spec home, because you can use a normal loan. However, anytime you do a construction loan, they usually prefer to do a 2-time close. Now, what this means is they give you certain interest rates at the beginning, and then they give you new interest rates and additional closing costs when the property is finished, and then you revamp the entire loan. Now, this sucks for a couple reasons. First off, interest rates could drop. So if you build your home over the course of a year, or in our case, it's a 15-month build, so there's a lot that could change over that time period where interest rates might go up. The other major bummer with this is you're having to pay closing costs twice. So a lot of times your origination fees and your other fees are substantially more expensive with a 2-time close. So this is what we were working against. We were in this situation where it's a jumbo loan, it's a construction loan, it's over $1 million that we're borrowing for our dream home. And so we got into this very messy situation where when I went and shopped it out, interest rates were going to be really bad, even though we look like a pretty good buyer with everything that we've got going on with our properties and everything else. So originally when I went in, I shopped out a couple different banks, even though I was planning on using my bank. Now, other banks didn't compete. Other banks were pushing 5% plus. Our bank off the bat said, Chandler, I think we can get you a 4.5% interest rate, and we're going to require 35, maybe 40% down. Now, that was their initial look. This is when then I went in and I dug in and I said, this is my relationship. This is what I need. You've got to work with me on this. Okay. So now they dropped the down payment a little bit. They came down to where they said, hey, we can do a 30% down for you, and we can do a 4% interest rate. Now, this was just working with the one lender that does construction loans. But here's the deal. I had never worked with him before. However, the commercial lender and the person that does all of my investment properties that are 4 units or less, both of them I had a very good relationship with, and I had a good relationship with the person above them that kind of could pull the strings to get me good rates and terms. So I then went over to them and got them involved. And I said, guys, I need your help. We need to make sure that we're getting better rates and better terms. So after talking with these guys, they came back and they said, okay, Chandler, here's what we can do. We can give you a 30-year fixed. We can lower the rates to a 3.85, and we're going to keep the down payment where it's at. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good, but I still wasn't super satisfied. Now, this blows everybody else out of the water, but if this isn't to be on my personal residence, it's 30-year fixed money. I wanted to get the best interest rate and the best terms possible, and I wanted to put as little down possible as I could. So at this point, I kind of put things on hold and I said, all right, 3.85 interest rate, that's probably a pretty decent place, especially for a 30-year fixed, especially when I'm looking at the other property I bought on my 32 Plex, where I was able to get them to a 3.85, but my rate's only fixed for 5 years. So I was content for a minute, but then I got to the point where I got this new 15 Plex under contract. And this is where things started to get a little complicated, because now I'm working with the construction guy, but I'm also working with the commercial guy. Now, the commercial guy, we'd already been through the hoops with. And if you don't remember that, you can go watch this video where I worked out the financing on my 32-plex. Now, on my 32-plex, I was able to get them down to a 3.85 interest rate with a 5-year fixed and a lower down payment on a 20-year AM. So that was a pretty good deal, but the reason I had to twist their arm is they didn't believe I could get rents up as much as I did. If you remember on that property, my rents were at $600. I told them I was gonna get them up to $850. Well, here's the deal. When I come in to negotiate on this 15-plex, I say, look, you guys were worried last time about my ability to add value to a property and get up rents. Well, I told you all of these were month to month. I told you I'd get all the rents up to $850. You didn't believe me, but we finally pushed you over the edge and you got me pretty decent terms, but you were pretty stressed about it, and it took me twisting your arm a lot. So here's the deal. We're coming in on this 15-plex. Look at what I did with the 32-plex. And I showed them the numbers. Now, they were blown away. They're like, holy cow, dude. You said you were going to do it. You did it on all 32 units. This thing is cash flowing like crazy. Like, this is our dream deal to lend to. And when we originally gave you this money, it was not a dream deal at all. And so that was huge leverage for me to be able to get much better rates and terms on this 15-plex. Now, the 15-plex wasn't even as bad of a deal early on. The 32-plex looked pretty rough early on until I got rents up. The 15-plex actually looked pretty decent. I mean, it was a deal that anybody would have bought at its current rents, but I'm gonna be able to add huge value. So I came in and I said, this is where the 15-plex is at. This is where it's going to be. And now you have to believe me because you saw what I did with the 32-plex. So now on the 15-plex, they're looking at what is a very good, pretty reasonable deal with the opportunity of it being an absolutely incredible deal and with proof on 32 units that are right next to it that I had bought previously and been able to raise the rents. So they came back and they said, Chandler, here are our terms. We're gonna give you the 385, but we're gonna lock it in for 10 years because we know that was a big deal for you. Now I'm pumped because now I've got 10-year interest on these properties on a 20-year AM, but here's the deal. I knew I could get competition involved from out of state that was going to take 90 days to close, but I could get much better interest rates and terms. Now, I didn't have 90 days to close, but I knew where this competition was out of Utah. So I called up the competition and I said, hey, what can you do on this property? The numbers look great. They get me bids back at a 3.7 on a 20-year fixed at a 3.7 interest rate. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are saying, well, Chandler, why didn't you take that? First of all, they can't close very quickly, and the closing costs are substantially more expensive, and there are a couple other hoops I had to jump through that I didn't want to deal with. This was early on. But now I get this bid, I bring it back to the credit union that I use, and I say, guys, you've got to sharpen your pencil because I have done business with you forever. This is what you've got to do. So they come in, they say, Chandler, we'll match the 3.7. We can't extend our loan for any longer than the 10-year fixed. However, what if we give you a 25-year AM? That way you're paying off a lot less. 10 years from now, you can refinance with us and you know we're going to be generous, or you're probably going to have it paid off in 10 years anyways. So now on the 15-plex, I have a killer deal. I've got a 3.7 interest rate. I've got it fixed for 10 years. I've got on a 25-year AM. Oh, and I was able to get a much lower down payment that I would like to keep confidential until a future video. But now I'm in a place where I'm like, hey, I'm getting 3.7% from this credit union on a 15-plex, but I'm paying 3.85 on my home that's supposed to close next week. So I call up the guy and I say, here's the deal. I know you guys are working on the commercial side, but I also know you're speaking with some of the same people that are making the decision on the loan on my house. Now, I know it's a 30-year fixed, but you came down to 3.7 for 10 years on this property, and you're able to drop the down payment. So I need you to work some magic on my home loan, especially because these other people were willing to give me a longer fixed on the 15-plex. Now I present this to them and I say, here's the deal. I will go with you at your 3.7, your 10-year fixed, at your 25-year AM on the 15-plex, but you've got to get me a 3.7 on my home loan, and you've got to get me a smaller down payment. If you guys can do that, then I'm all in on both loans, even though this competitor beats you. So they go back to their higher ups. They come back and they say, Chandler, we can close on both of them in the next 2 weeks. We'll do all of the terms and the rates that you asked for. Just make sure that you keep your business here with us. So now I have got lower down payments. I've got a 3.7% interest rate on both of these properties, one for 10 years on a 25-year AM and one on a 30-year fixed. That's on my home. And I am pumped out of my mind because to get that on a construction jumbo loan over $1 million and on a 15-plex is absolutely insane. And on top of everything else on these properties, I was able to get them down to a 0.25% origination, which if you don't know what that is, that's fine, but that is an absurdly low origination fee, which I was pumped about. So that made my closing costs much lower on top of everything else. So I'm hoping if you guys didn't keep up with all of that, that you can go and rewatch it. But the big thing that you should get out of this video is, first of all, build a relationship with a credit union. Make sure that your deposits are going there. Make sure that you're doing all of your lending there. And make sure that early on you find the best one. And if you've already gone with someone else and you find someone better, find a way to switch your stuff over. It might not be right now if you don't want to refinance, but find a way to build a relationship with the best credit union in your area that's going to be the most competitive. And then make sure that you get competition involved every single time and have an open conversation. Be willing to bend a little bit if they'll bend on the things that are important to you. Bring the competition in and always be cordial. These guys that have worked with me, the guy that's working on the construction loan, the guy that's been working on the commercial loan, and their higher ups, all of them I've been able to go out to lunch with. I've built a relationship and they know I'm not being greedy. They know I'm not being rude. They know that I'm not trying to be pushy or say, do this or I'm walking. I've been able to build a relationship where I can come to them and say, guys, here's the deal. This is what other people are offering. I don't want to do business anywhere else. I love working with you. Even if I'm losing a little bit on terms, I'm okay going with you guys as long as you'll work with me on the things that matter the most to me. I trust them. I count on them. They close quickly for me. They care about me and I care about them. And I haven't been rude. I've just been smart in building a relationship and bringing competition in and making sure they know they're who I want to work with. And I share with them why and what I'm willing to do. So the biggest thing I want you to get out of this video is do everything you can to build a relationship with a local credit union. And that doesn't mean just with the bank, but build a relationship with a lender. I've been able to get a great relationship with the construction loan guy, with the commercial loan guy, with the 4 units or less guy that's already been built. All of these people that are running these different loans, I've got a great relationship, and I've gotten a good relationship with the people above them by working through them and using them as my advocate to be able to get the rates and terms that I want. And it's not because I force it. It's not because I'm rude, but it's because I bring in competition in a kind way and say, guys, I want to do business with you, but this is what needs to happen for it to make sense. I don't want to move everything somewhere else. I've been absurdly loyal and you know I'm going to stay, but I need you to be competitive. And as long as they're competitive, I'm going to stay there and I know I'm in the right place. And the only way I get them to where I need them to be is because I come and I ask and I do it in the right way. So my challenge to you is go out, find that credit union, build that relationship, get competition involved, keep that relationship, and push them until you get the best rates, terms, and everything else. Now, again, if you guys enjoyed this video, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the future videos where my goal is to help you to build a huge passive income. And if you found this video interesting, go and purchase the course down below. I talk about a ton of negotiation tactics, but also a ton of other things that credit unions or banks are looking at to make sure that you are lendable and that your property is lendable. And that course will help you a ton to get to the point where you're closing a ton of deals. Again, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks guys, have a great day.